sons! Dissemble no more! I admit the deed! Tear up the planks! Here, it is the beating of his hideous surface mount heart! Yeah, welcome to Analog Output. I have here the iHeart SMD board that I built several months ago. It's a tiny little board with a surface mount microcontroller IC and a resistor and a capacitor and an LED. And if you stick in a battery and turn on the switch, it blinks. So what this, of course, is a tutorial board for learning how to do surface mount soldering. And I have here another board with some similarities. It's small, it's got one IC and some passive components and an LED, and it's likewise made for tutorial purposes. There are some differences. The IC is a 555 timer, or 7555 or something like that. There isn't a switch, and if you put a battery in it, nothing happens. It doesn't work. About which more later. But the most significant difference is, let's see if we can get this focus close enough, maybe not. Anyway, the difference is, if you can see there, it has my name on it. So this is a PC board that I designed, kind of. A few weeks ago, I went through a series of tutorial videos from Contextual Electronics showing how to create schematic diagrams and PC board layouts using the KiCad software package. They're good tutorials, and I'll put a link to them down below. And I followed along with the example and drew the schematic and laid out the PCB, and in the end I had a file which I could upload to a PCB fabrication company and order copies, which I did. Part of what I learned from that is getting small quantities of PC boards made is a lot cheaper than I thought. I ordered 3 copies of this board from Osh Park in Oregon, and it cost me about $7.50, including postage. Now granted, it's a very small board, and large boards cost more. In fact, they charge $5 per square inch. But that still is less than I expected. And it turns out there are Chinese companies that are a good deal cheaper than that. So PCBWay.com will sell you 5 copies of a board up to 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters. That's 4 inches by 4 inches, for a total of $5. That's the total. It's not per board. It's $5 for 5 boards. Plus postage, which if you want, fast turnaround from China, it's going to cost you a lot more than the fabrication does. But if you're not in a hurry, the rates are pretty low. And suppose you want 10 copies instead of 5, well, that'll cost $5. Same price for 5 boards as for 10. 15 boards, they start charging more. Okay, or you can go to jlcpcb.com, and they will also do 5 copies of a board up to 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters, and their price is $2 for 5 copies. Or for 10 copies, also $2, which is ridiculous. And again, of course, larger boards are going to cost more, but they're still very, very much cheaper than I ever thought they would be. I mean, I've never made PC boards myself, but I know people do it, and from what I've seen, it depends exactly on what approach you take, but it involves stuff like maybe working with ferric chloride and acetone and heating things up with an iron or with an oven, and a lot of stirring and scrubbing and drilling whatever holes you need. If you're not doing surface mount, you need a lot of holes. it sounds like even a simple board is a fair amount of tedious effort, noxious substances, and as for a double-sided board with plated through holes, yeah, I mean that's even more work. Granted, you can start designing a board this morning and be assembling your circuit by this evening if you make the board yourself. But if you're not in that much of a hurry, and if you're willing to do business with Chinese companies, why would you put yourself through that? Anyway, I got my boards and the parts last week and put one of these things together. And another difference with the iHeart SMD board is that used 1206 parts, meaning 12 hundredths of an inch by 6 hundredths of an inch in size. That's the size of these resistors and capacitors and all that. This board is designed for 0805 parts, which are smaller. They're 8 hundredths of an inch by 5 hundredths of an inch. This is my first attempt at soldering 0805. And one thing I discovered is I definitely needed better tweezers. When you find yourself using a toothpick in preference to the tweezers you got, you need better tweezers. So anyway, I built it. I put in the battery and nothing happened. And I thought there was probably a problem with the board or with my soldering, and I was trying to diagnose that. And long story short, I ended up discovering by accident that if you put 5 volts on this circuit, it works. LED blinks. I'm not sure what the problem was. I may have selected the wrong LED, or maybe the resistor value that was specified was incorrect. I don't know. Anyway, even if it doesn't work as intended, the board's okay and the soldering's okay, and that is what matters. So I'm going to build the other 2 of those little boards just for the practice, because here is what came in the mail today. The Music from Outer Space voltage-controlled low-frequency oscillator, and it is 0805 SMD, and lots of it. As for my KiCad skills, I've been applying them to some ideas I've had, which you'll hear about sooner or later if they pan out. One thing I've done with them is I've drawn up PC boards for one module and a front panel, and I ordered those from China, and they are now made, and they are on their way here, so it is happening. We'll be seeing that soon. And I need parts for that and the various other projects I'm planning, and I've been holding out on ordering those for the past month because I was expecting Tayda Electronics to have one of its 15% off sales, and I was waiting for that, and waiting, and well, it was a longer time between sales than it's ever been before, I think, but finally this morning they announced a sale, and I put in my order, and so a bunch of parts are going to be arriving here soon. That sale is on until February 27th, so heads up, if you want some parts, now's the time. You can get them there. So I have boards and panels and parts coming, and I have more boards and panels and parts right here. So there's going to be exciting times coming here at Analog Output. So hit like and subscribe, blah, 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 and tune in next time when hopefully I will build something more interesting than this.